Half-Life Anticlimax, it's a cool mod from 2019. The name may suggest you what the mod is about if you remember the G-Man final line in the closing speech of Half-Life 1.
I can offer you a battle you have no chance of winning, rather than a climax after what you've just survived.
One of my biggest dreams in gaming was to actually having a chance of fighting the battle you have no chance of winning, and this mod lets you do just that. The thing that always disturbed me was feeling so powerless in front of those 20 or 30 alien grunts when deep down I knew Gordon could fight them had he not been relieved from all his weapons.
Dude, I will liberty of relieving you of your weapons.
And this is why Half-Life Anticlimax is so brilliant on a conceptual level. It lets you do something you always dreamed about, such as winning the battle you have no chance of winning, and makes you sweat to build your arsenal up to actually go and face the grunts. But let's get to the mod. Just as expected, you start without weapons, but you miraculously still have your HEV suit and long jump module. The latter will prove itself useful to escape the angry platoon of alien grunts facing you, and as soon as the green barrier disappears, you know you gotta get the F out of that situation. A little treat by the devs was inserting a very cool voice line by the G-Man that was cut from the game. This is the line if you never heard it, it's pretty interesting.
Well, it looks like we won't be working together. No regrets, Mr. Freeman. But there are a few survivors of your personal holocaust who would like the chance to meet the man responsible for the total annihilation of their race.
So, while escaping from the alien grunts, Hornet and a bunch of alien controllers, we can notice the same caged butterflies of the Xen chapters, but we don't have anything to break the boxes. Sometimes this mod can be a bit cryptic, but while platforming, another HEV scientist falls from the sky and thank God he has a crowbar in his hands. Now that we have a crowbar, we can go find the other two caged butterflies. The tricky part here is platforming around, since the terrain is quite uneven and the crouching plus jumping may lead to your pitfall thanks to the amazing Gold SRC engine. I like to bunny hop, but I swear to God that I died countless times here because I was not taking my time and was feeling rather arrogant. After freeing the three butterflies, the path leads us to a teleporter that will be activated by those butterflies, just like in the Xen chapter. The cave we are in is some sort of an hub area of the mod, since the teleporter can redirect Gordon to 4 different places. Again, one criticism I can make to this pretty cool mod is that knowing where to go is not really straightforward. So the teleporter leads to 4 different places: Black Mesa, Xen, a factory in Xen, and to the battle you have no chance of winning. The right way is to head to Black Mesa first, and I suppose it's a section of Lambda Core, since the walls are painted red like in the Lambda Core corridors. On the right there is a locked door that requires a keycard, while on the left we meet the G-Man who will lock the door to reach a much desired Gauss gun that will prove itself essential in winning the battle we got no chance of winning. The G-Man will also send us against us 2 alien grunts, which are quite awkward to fight in such a small room and with just a pistol, but you can still lure them into the green and very deadly ray. Now you might feel yourself stuck in Black Mesa since 2 doors out of 2 are locked, but at the end of the ray there is a teleport that you will have to very carefully crawl towards, cause the green ray is no joke. Back to the cave hub area, and now it's time to teleport ourselves to Xen to find the missing keycard. I really enjoy the aesthetics of this Xen area. The green palette of the opposing force skybox gives it a strong alien vibe to it. On the very first island we spawn on, we have the pleasure to meet a less fortunate HEV wearing scientist lying dead next to a shotgun and the red keycard we needed back in Black Mesa. Now I guess it's up to Gordon to carry on the mission of his dead colleague. And to not end up dead like his workmate, Gordon will have to make a bunch of very difficult jumps from one floating island to the other. If you thought that the platforming in the Xen chapter was hard, well, in Half-Life Anticlimax it's tough as nails, and I died more times than I'm willing to admit. After having fought a bunch of alien controllers and grunts, we can perform another difficult jump to reach the top or better the back of Xen Manta, much like you had to do in Interloper. And this Manta will lead Gordon to another teleporter. With the red keycard in our pocket, we can head back to Black Mesa to unlock the door that brings us in front of some machinery that are unfortunately turned off. Since the player cannot make Gordon violently shake his hips to turn on the machinery, we gotta go to a room where we can power everything up. After turning the generator on, it's time to activate a switch that will teleport a yellow Xen crystal back to Xen. So it's time to head back to the hub teleport area to travel to the third area of the mod, which, as I've anticipated, it's a Xen factory. In this Xen factory, the Vortigons appear to be jailed behind some sort of energy fields, and both the area and the energy fields remind me of the Black Mesa Interloper chapter and Xen chapter 2. After performing some light combat and platforming, we get to a room where all three crystals should be in place. Of course, if you explored this area before teleporting the crystal from the Black Mesa machines, the yellow crystal would be missing and you would have to backtrack. Activate the strange lever and now you successfully freed the Vorts who are going to aid Gordon in two different ways. The first way is hard to figure out because I didn't think Vortigons could teleport themselves and objects around. In fact, if you head back to Black Mesa, in front of the locked door that keeps the Gauss gun hostage, a Vortigaunt will teleport inside the room and kindly open the door for you. You can now finally rely on one of the coolest and strongest weapons in gaming history. There is also a locked displacer, but unfortunately we cannot get it, even though it would be very useful to win the battle we have no chance of winning. So, now that we have built our arsenal up with a shotgun, revolver, pistol and Gauss gun, it's time to get to the epic part, right? Except it's not really that epic because you may run into some lack of ammunition problems, which is a big shame. Yeah, the modders have been a little bit too stingy by giving you only 60 cells for the Gauss gun. And even the ammos for your other guns are very scarce in this mod. On my first playthrough on hard, I slightly managed to kill all the grunts and was left with only 5 or 6 bullets for my pistol, while on my second playthrough to record the footage for this video, I ran out of ammo almost immediately. So I advise you to save as much ammo as you can, or else Gordon will indeed have zero chances of winning the battle you have no chance of winning. One cool thing is that the Vortigons are fighting alongside you, but I wish more Vortigons spawned to aid you since you don't have enough ammos. I firmly believe that this final battle is a missed opportunity. Imagine if you had more ammos, there were more enemies, and perhaps we could wield a sick M249 from opposing force. That stuff would have been sick. Instead, we gotta deal with a lack of ammo, unfortunately. Although short, this Half-Life Anticlimax mod has got two different endings. The good ending is obtained if you successfully kill all the alien grunts, and it kind of reminds me of Blue Shift ending, since Gordon rejoices with all his scientist friends, but this time it's in a cozy bar in the middle of nowhere. This implies that Gordon will not be put under stasis by the G-Man, and consequently his youth won't be preserved by the time Half-Life 2 happens, which is 20 years later, and so Gordon will be an old man and Alex won't be falling in love with him. The bad ending instead is the canon ending of Half-Life 1, where Gordon is indeed trapped in a weird stasis cabin, and of course the G-Man pays him a visit and starts speaking just like he did to Adrian Shepard at the end of Opposing Force. The lines are the same. And I would say that his final speech fits the ending of the mod. So Half-Life Anticlimax, is it worth playing? I think it's a must play for every Half-Life fans because it's very ambitious, it continues the plot of the game, and it lets you do something that I bet every Half-Life fans has dreamed about.